This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. We've talked a lot about how much better this roster is, so let's rank it now on the offensive side. I've already done the rankings for defense. Let's jump in to offense. And the way this works is, again, I'm ranking these players on what I think they're capable of doing as far as this season is concerned. This is not me saying their overall potential is this or that. This is me saying for this season, I think they're capable of giving us this level of output. If you want to run through the tiers, let's go through it. I already have the defensive players ranked. We have future Hall of Fame, All Pro, Pro Bowl, plus level starter, regular starter, small doses. So these are bench players or guys who usually will be on the bench, but might be able to give you something here or there. And then practice squad players / cut guys you just kind of don't want on the roster, or not that you don't want them on the roster, just you don't see them really contributing in a significant way this season. All right, let's jump to it. First player is one of the players I think a lot of people have been excited about, Isaiah Bond, who I think will put himself up here at, I think plus level star is a bit much. Let's put him at regular starter. I think he's going to be able to give you some nice snaps here this season. Casey Concepcion, I think he'll be a playmaker for this team. Not necessarily a Pro Bowl level in year one, but I think the potential is there for him to do that. We'll save quarterbacks for last, but certainly somebody who can get there. Jerry Jeudy, he's interesting because last year he almost fell out of starter and went into small doses because he had some really, really bad games. Still a great route runner, still somebody who can get open for this team. I'm tempted to put him up here at Pro Bowl because I do think he's going to bounce back and have a year similar to what he did in 2024. But I'll just throw him at plus level starter for now. I think that's where he'll sit. Again, we're going to leave quarterback for the end of the video. Quincy Judkins, if there is a all-pro level player on this offense, this is my guess for it to be him. I don't think he'll be all-pro, but I certainly do think he'll be a Pro Bowl caliber running back. Close to the conversation with the best running backs in the NFL, but not necessarily there yet. Maybe year 3 is when he gets into that conversation, but he's going to start working his way this season. Cedric Tillman, small doses. He's the definition of small doses. Harold Fannin is another one where I'm like, man, if any of these rookies has a chance to be all pro, maybe it's Harold Fannin, but I'll throw him in Pro Bowl. I think him and Quincy pretty much replicate. I don't think Quincy replicates the production he had last year. I think he actually exceeds it, but the feeling you had when you saw Quincy out there is something that I think is going to be replicated when you see him out there this year, especially since he's going to be more productive because I think the offensive line is going to be better. And then Harold Fannin, I think he's going to probably be close to a Pro Bowl player. Maybe if the Browns had a quarterback, I'd feel more comfortable throwing him at all-pro, but close to an all-pro caliber player, but certainly a Pro Bowl caliber player. Dylan Sampson, I think we're going to feel plus level starter about Dylan Sampson. I feel really good about where he's going to be at this year. I think he was underutilized in the offense last year, and I think that he will be used better with Todd Monken. Luke Whippler, probably going to be practice squad / cut. KT Leviston, I think he has a bit of a bounce back. Maybe even threatens to get into that starter tier, but I'll put him at small doses. I think he'll be a really nice backup guard for this team. He was a pretty terrible tackle last year, but really showed some glimpses of being a good backup caliber guard. I'll put DeJuan Jones here. I think he's going to be a nice swing tackle for the Browns off the bench. Somebody who's going to be very valuable to this team. All right, we'll go with Zion Johnson, who I think is probably going to be playing a starter caliber football. I don't know if he gets to plus level starter or Pro Bowl. I wonder what the center play next to him is going to look like because that's really the biggest question mark on this line. I think we'll get starting caliber football from him. Elgin Jenkins, he's pretty much been right here or better his whole career. So I'll just throw him at plus level starter. I think that's a pretty safe bet. I think Tevin Jenkins is going to be a backup for this team, but we're going to see him out there and think that he could start. He's going to play some good quality football out there for us, too. I really believe in him. Zinter, I feel bad for Zinter because he's kind of getting written off, but I put him in practice squad, unfortunately. We're going to continue on with more rankings, but first, I do have to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is a fun way to earn cash while you watch your favorite teams. No complex betting rules, just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Here are my picks for this upcoming season, AFC North edition. Jimmy Bernard, I have less than 475. This has to do with volume available in Pittsburgh's offense. Quincy Judkins, I have over 975. Browns improved line. I think the run game's going to be better with it. Chase Brown, under 900 yards. Joe Burrow equals less rushing yards usually for the Bengals offense. Mark Andrews, more than 475 yards. Lamar's going to need a safety blanket. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You could follow me on the app at Quinn_C to see all my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineup to download the app using the link in the description. All right, let's keep jumping into this. Titus Howard, plus level starter. I think he's been that pretty much his whole career, so we'll keep him at plus level starter. That tier is starting to fill up pretty mightily here. But I feel pretty good about everybody that I've ranked in plus level starter. Spencer Fano, would love for him to be a Pro Bowler rookie year. Look, the tackle position is a hard one to get your first year. I like Spencer Fano a lot, but I do think he's going to have to learn a lot of lessons early on his rookie year. We're going to throw him at starter, and I'd be pretty happy if he just gave you starting quality play in year one. It's a position that takes a while to transition to out the league. He's also going to be transitioning from right to left. So I expect some growing pains on the offensive line. I think he'll be a decent source of it. People might be out on him early because he's not going to dominate right out the gate, or at least I don't think he's going to dominate right out the gate. But I think eventually he will give us that, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, plus level starter upside in his career, just not right now. All right. Small doses for Malachi Corley. If he makes the team, I think he can really impact the team in small doses. He's a question to make the team. I don't think he's a guarantee at all. Casey Concepcion being on the team kind of muddies his path to being on the team. So I actually, as much as I like Malachi, I'm going to have to put him in practice squad because I just don't see the pathway for him to make the team. Jamari Thrash is another player I like. It's going to be hard to see the pathway for him on the team because the Browns are going to keep Jerry Jeudy. They're going to keep Isaiah Bond. They're going to keep both their rookies, so we're already at 4 wide receivers. Cedric Tillman is probably going to be kept on. I know a lot of people are eager to cut him, but the Browns going to run the ball a lot. They need bigger wide receivers out there to block, and I think Cedric Tillman's blocking ability, plus his occasional downfield ability, is going to be enough to keep him on the roster. So that's 5 spots right there. Keeping a 6 wide receiver is going to be difficult, especially if they want to keep an extra running back or an extra quarterback. I don't know if there's a real pathway for a 6 wide receiver on this team. All right, just to recap where we are right now, I have Denzel Ward and Carson Schlesinger as my lone 2 Pro Bowl caliber players. All Pro, my bad, not Pro Bowl. All Pro caliber players. I think these 2 are the few players on the Browns roster that we're going to be making the argument are one of the best or the best at their position. Pro Bowl caliber, we have Mason Graham, Jared Verse, Quincy Judkins, Harold Fannin. Starter plus tier, we have Casey Concepcion, Jerry Jeudy, Dylan Sampson, who I think is going to have a breakout year this year, Titus Howard, Elgin Jenkins, and then Grant Delpit, Quincy Williams, Alex Wright, Tyson Campbell, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. On the starting caliber for the Browns, I have Spencer Fano, who, again, rookie year, it's going to take a while for him to adjust. It's just a tough position to be really good at in year one. I expect him to have a lot of growing pains and the Browns offensive line in general to have some growing pains. I think by the end of the year, we're going to be pretty excited about Spencer Fano. I think it's going to be a very similar arc to what we saw with Mason Graham, where we're like, okay, we saw the all-pro, Pro Bowl potential in a spurt of games for this player. But, the beginning was a little shaky, had to see it, wasn't the most obvious thing, definitely had his falls, and then picked it up towards the end of the season. Parker Brailsford, I think he'll eventually be at starter. I like him. The more I watch his tape, the more I like him. The size doesn't really bother me. His strength is pretty good. Seen him go up against, some of the strongest guys in the SEC, and he's fine. Maybe the strength kind of bothers him a little bit more in the NFL, but I think he's a smart enough player to figure out how to adjust to that. Isaiah Bond, I have at starter. I think he's going to be real productive for the Browns this year per target. Zion Johnson, another guy that I think will be solid for the Browns. I think Tevin Jenkins will be a backup, but play starting caliber football. Then you got the Browns special teamers, Andrew Schmeidt and Corey Bojorquez. Then you have Malik Collins, Mike Hall, Ronnie Hickman, Isaiah McGuire. And then in small doses, we have guys like DeJuan Jones, who I think will be good as a swing tackle. KT Leviston, who I think is going to really provide some quality playing time for the Browns as a backup guard. You have Cedric Tillman, who's going to be able to block for the Browns, and I think he will provide, a couple of wild catches this year. We're going to be able to appreciate what Cedric Tillman can bring because now he's in a position where we're not really dependent on him to do anything. So anything we get out of Cedric Tillman will be extra. And I think that'll allow us to appreciate what he brings to the table a little bit more than where we've been at the last few years. That's it for the offense. So let's continue ranking the offense. So Taylor Green be the first quarterback that I rank pretty clearly in practice squad here. Jamari Thrash, it's so weird. I like it when he plays in the preseason. I like what I see when I see him at practices in the training camp. But, dude, coaches don't like this dude for some reason, and I can't understand why. Something must be going on there. I want to put him in small doses because I think he will be effective for this team in small doses. Maybe he has to start for a game or two because somebody gets injured. But coaches hate him. I'm going to go a little out on a limb here and say he'll be in small doses, but I really wouldn't be surprised if he's practice squad or cut. Jack Stoll, small doses for sure. Austin Barber, similar to my reasoning for Spencer Fano, year one tackle. He's a little older and bigger than Spencer Fano, so he might be better year one earlier than Spencer Fano, but I think once Fano starts to get his game together, I think he'll clearly be the best tackle in this class. Joe Royer, I'm going to put Joe Royer in small doses here. I think he'll be better than Jack Stoll, but I think the primary in that room is obviously going to be Harold Fannin. Amani Marshall, practice squad, and that's Carson Ryan, practice squad. All right, so Denzel Boston. I think he's going to be the standout in this rookie class. I think he's going to have a similar rookie year to what Quinshawn had and what Harold Fannin had, where we're like, oh, yeah, I can see the path to this guy becoming a Pro Bowler, if not already being a Pro Bowler by the end of the year, being there for Denzel Boston. The real question with him is he going to get the amount of production necessary to be able to get those kind of honors? Because the Browns quarterback room is just suspect. I don't see there being a huge amount of room there for him to get a ton of yards this year. But I think he'll put together some wild plays that'll really make the case for him, similar to how Harold Fannin did last year. All right, let's rank the quarterbacks. Dylan Gabriel, will put him in a practice squad. Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. How do I rank these two in this kind of a tier? Because I don't think either of these guys are starting caliber players at the quarterback position. So I'm going to throw them both in small doses. I think there are things that Deshaun will do that we will appreciate during the course of the season and really like about what Deshaun does, right? He's a good athlete, and I think he's going to be able to create some explosive plays with his legs this year, and he might even be capable of doing design run plays, right? I know Shedeur is a good scrambler. He's certainly going to be able to do some of that, but like with Deshaun, I think he might be able to actually run some like designed RPO run plays and might be able to run those effectively, and we'll really like that from him. I still think he's going to look like how Deshaun Watson has looked like largely as a quarterback in Cleveland. I think he's still going to be pretty underwhelming, pretty disappointing. I know that there are a lot of people selling the hype on Deshaun Watson, and look, more people than usual are buying it at this time. I'm just not one of those customers, man. Like at this point, Deshaun Watson, I treat him like somebody who owes me money, and I'm not going to sit here and act like he's back for the 15th time in Cleveland before I see it. So definitely want to see it. Are there going to be some things that Deshaun does that get us excited at some point? Sure. Still a good athlete. Still somebody who used to be a really good quarterback, so he's going to make a couple of throws here and there and have a game probably here or there that get you real excited, but over the body of work for this season, is it going to be there? Probably not. Shedeur Sanders, I put him in small doses as well. I would prefer Shedeur starting over Deshaun Watson because he's younger and cheaper, and there's a more of a future there with Shedeur. And I think he will give us, these moments of brilliance here, right? When he scrambles out, he'll have a good game here or there. He's going to throw some beautiful 50-50 balls to these new wide receivers that they're going to make plays on. And I think Shedeur, look, I don't know if he's going to be starting caliber or like good this year, but I do think the offense will be more aesthetically pleasing with Shedeur out there. I think it'll be funner to watch. He might turn the ball a little bit more, over the ball a little bit more, but I do think the product that we see will be more fun to watch, and you'll see more production from your wide receivers with him out there. Will that translate to winning? That's my big concern with Shedeur. I don't think he does play football that's really conducive to winning football games because he doesn't make decisions that help you win football games at times. He tends to big game hunt, tends to do things that can ruin your field position, make your defense's life a little bit harder than it has to be. The game management stuff there with Shedeur still needs some improvement, and I'm hoping that during the preseason he demonstrates some improvement there so I can sneak him up into starting tier. But as of right now, what I know, my gut feeling on him, I think we're probably going to be in small doses with both the quarterbacks there. So that is my ranking of the Browns roster. It's not an exhaustive list. It's just the guys that I felt like were relevant to rank this year. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Who do you have? Where? All of those things. And what do you see with this roster win-loss wise? Let me know in the comment section down below. Another thing to go with, I'm not projecting that like every player that's ranked in Pro Bowl is going to make the literal Pro Bowl, right? I'm not saying the Browns are going to have 7 Pro Bowlers. There have been players who have struggled to get the recognition they deserve. Like both my All-Pro picks, I don't think Denzel's going to make an All-Pro team this year because of how they vote for it, and the same thing for Carson Schlesinger. I'm just saying that they're going to play on a all-pro level, which I think inarguably Denzel Ward has been at, and I think Carson Schlesinger was at last year. Whether they put Mason Graham in the Pro Bowl or not, I think he's going to play at a Pro Bowl quality level. The same thing with Quincy Judkins, same thing with Denzel Boston. They'll probably end up with like 5 guys in the Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? Definitely Denzel, definitely Carson, definitely Jarrett, definitely Harold, and maybe Quincy. You know what I mean? But I think that those players will play at that prerequisite level. So that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have you a better night. Peace.